Hey world, it's your host Marshall, and thanks for tuning into my podcast, runONthoughts. Here we talk about everything and nothing because we are not afraid to be all of ourselves even as we evolve. And that's my thought for my fellow thought thinkers as we unpack our traumas, past hurts, and other BS. Y'all ready? Let's go.
Hey thought thinkers, I hope you guys had a good week out in the world living. I know things are crazy, and today's episode I'm going to take a different route. But before we get started, I want to stand in a place of gratitude and thank anyone who has ever listened. If you are listening and joining us from the very beginning, I say thank you. And if today is the first time you are listening, I also say thank you. If today is the first time that you needed to listen, I say thank you. And with that, I want to jump in and welcome you guys to runONthoughts. I welcome you to go to my website at runONthoughts.com. I welcome you to listen from any podcast streaming service, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, anywhere that you feel best serves you. I want you to become a thought thinker because I want you guys to become thoughtful about how you think. With that, today's episode is entitled Doing Your Best with What You Got. And guys, today's episode was inspired by life. What's going on in the world? I know everyone is struggling, and I know that right now is not the time to be unpacking. Sometimes you are in survival mode, and right now many people are in survival mode. Many people don't have food, shelter. Many people are struggling with food and struggling with shelter, and how they're going to take care of their children and how they're going to take care of themselves, and feeling insecure about work, feeling insecure about how long you're going to be able to keep your job, and feeling saddened and feeling overwhelmed by the holidays coming up, by everything that is being thrown at you in this life as if we're in some type of crazy video game. And I just want to tell you that doing your best is enough. Doing the best with what you got is enough. I know that the holidays can bring about this certain type of pressure to give more, spend more, and do more, even when times are hard. And right now, times are hard. All right, I want to talk about what it really means to do your best with what you got. It's not about settling. I don't want you guys to settle. This is not about settling, right? Because sometimes even when you think that things are big and grand, you're settling, or you're doing what's out in the world, or you're following the Joneses, and that is not what is in your heart, and that is not what is going to make core memories for yourself and those that you love. It's about shifting your perspective, being resourceful, and finding peace in the midst of these incredible limitations, right? I want you guys to keep your spirits up when your wallets feel light. I want to teach you guys how to celebrate meaningfully without overspending. And truthfully, this is about releasing the guilt of not being able to do it all. Because the truth is, some of us shouldn't have been trying to do it all ever. And what is all? And what makes people happy? And assuming that what you wanted is what other people want or need, or why they're in your life, or why they love you. None of this shit is true. None of this shit is true. I know you guys find yourself looking at your bank account like, now, how are we supposed to make that stretch through the holidays, or through today, or through next week, or through the next paycheck? And I get it. No, seriously. I get it. I have been there. Times are tight. I have been there. The cost of living keeps climbing, and somehow so do expectations, and somehow so do the bills. But here's the truth. You can only do the best with what you got, and it's just that motherfucking simple. And that's not a sign of your weakness. That's a sign of strength, guys. It's about making peace with where you are and still finding joy. Still living and existing in gratitude. When shit is hard, you got to be creative. You got to be creative. And it's crazy because not having makes you creative, right? So today I want to teach you guys how to thrive. I know we're in survival mode, but I want you to even thrive in the I want you guys to thrive in the survival mode. I want to teach us all how to thrive through these economic hard times without losing your spirit, your sanity, or your self-worth. I know that we all get caught up, and I don't want you to get caught up. I'm going to first start off with my own stories. You guys know where I come from. You know that I come from the bottom. And I am not ashamed of coming from the bottom, because I know now and recognize that coming from the bottom comes with a full capabilities. There is privilege in coming from the bottom. Because when you are climbing to get up from the bottom, you have to jump over mud, jump in mud, get out the mud. You got to get it out the mud. There are no bootstraps. There are no boots. You got to do the best you can with what you got. You got to be creative. You got to bend the rules. You have to be vulnerable. You have to ask people for help. You have to be independent. You have to make a way out of no way. You got to turn that jean jacket into a suit jacket. You got to turn them sneakers into evening wear. You got to do what you got to do. You got to beg, borrow, and steal. You got to do it anyway when you are hungry. You got to do it anyway when you are tired. You got to do it anyway, and that builds a sense of resilience. No, I don't never want nobody to have to get it out the mud, but those of us who've ever had to get it out the mud, clap your motherfucking hands right now. Because you are resilient. I am afraid. I am most afraid from those who have never had to get it out the mud and don't know how to make a way out of no way, because it is hard. It is hard. Many of the things that those born in these later generations can't do is because they never had to do it. Someone is always there to block the shot. Someone is always there to block the pain. Someone is always there to lay down the jacket so that they did not have to go over the puddle. And I'm telling you guys, that is not healthy. You won't build resilience. You can't build pride. You can't build a sense of worth ethic. You can't build a sense of feeling good about yourself. It is in those moments that you know that you can and you will. You don't feel stuck and overwhelmed and feel like all of these life tasks. It's like practicing. Coming from the bottom is like practicing. So now when it's game time, it's show time, and you show up and you can win. I want to teach you guys how to win. One of the things that happened when I became a teen mom and I was thrown out into the world and had to figure it out, I asked the universe, God, Mother Earth, whoever you believe in, because something is out there that keeps us all. And even if you just need to believe for your own sanity, do that. But still be mindful, right? because I want us all to be good people. I want us all to lean on our own strength, lean on the strength of that in which you believe, but understand that you can. And when I was thrown out into the world and had to make a way, I know that the universe, God, and the ancestors, because I believe that I need it all, stepped in and showed out. They made sure to send people into my life that would help me get to the next level of life's game. My son's grandmother, his paternal grandmother, stepped in and got us an apartment. And I was literally too young to get an apartment, but she knew that I was responsible and she knew that I would do my best. And she told that lady that she would watch over us and that she would make sure that I paid the rent. And I did that. I did that. And there were even times when I had help doing that. So I ain't going to sit here, and I'm not one of those persons who say that I got it out the mud alone. There were people sometimes on the other side of the mud there to hold my hand or pull me out, or give me a safe space to be, or teach me something, or give me a tool. And I used every last bit of it. But there were times, guys, when I didn't have 2 nickels to want to rub together. One time, I lost my job. And I lost my job because I was working at one bank, and we had got a promotion at another bank. And I went with one of the girls at the bank, and some money was missing from the bank. And so they thought that because I came to the bank with her, that I was part of the problem. So they fired us both. Now, crazy thing about them firing us both is that I didn't do it. And they eventually found out that nobody did it. It was a paper error. No one had taken $10,000. And first of all, back then, if I had taken $10,000, I would have just split. I wouldn't have showed back up, but there's that. And so I was overwhelmed. I stood outside of the bank and I said to myself, self, don't cry. You can't cry now, right? Because I have a baby to feed. I have rent to pay. And I can't and I won't cry now. I told myself that I could cry after I got another job. It is raining, guys. I have on my work clothes. I go from one side of town to the other side of town on the bus, because while on the bus, I looked up an employment agency. I went to the employment agency. Outside, I was feeling and looking good because I still had on my work clothes, but inside, I was scared. I couldn't think straight. But I went in, they had an aptitude test and a typing test. I passed the aptitude test. I failed the typing test. I could not think. I was shaking. But instead of leaving, I said to that lady, please, I have a baby to feed. I promise you, if you give me a job, I won't let you down. Please. Because I don't got time to be humble. I have a baby to feed. I went home. I fixed dinner. I didn't say anything to anybody. I just spoke to my mother. Now, I know my mother's passed on, guys, but I'm going to be 50 years old this year. My mother has been gone for 41 years. And ever since I was 16 and first got pregnant, I have spoken to my mom almost every single day. This is one of the reasons why I love pajamas and baths and bedding. I like to get in my bed and have a conversation with my mother and see how she fit into my life that day. The next day, that lady calls me and says, I don't have a job for you, but one of the temps is going to be out today. Would you fill in? I said yes. I don't know why I said yes, because I could get unemployment. But unemployment wasn't a lot, especially when you're not making a lot of money. It's even less. That $405 or $400 that it was back then, you're not getting that. You're getting $100. And remember, I don't have it. So I said yes because my spirit said yes. Something said, go on in. She sends me the assignment. I go to the job. The craziest thing happens. When my mom had first passed away, my father took us to my aunt's house. There it was, on the same block that I grew up and lived from the time that I was 8 to the time that I was 15. There it was. And when I walked inside, I said to myself, this is going to be my job at the end of the day. So I answered that phone and took notes, and everything that they told me, I wrote it in the notebook because I wasn't trying to remember, but I just needed all of the information. So at the end of the day, guys, my boss comes in and say, can you call the temp and tell them that we want to keep you? And I said, yes. I called the temp agency and told them that they wanted to keep me, and they kept me, and I did my best. 3 weeks later, the boss comes in and says, we would like to offer you a full-time position. And I said yes. But guess what happened, guys, before that? The bank called me back. That's how I found out that it was a manual error. The bank called me back, but it wasn't the same bank. I was working for the Dime Bank, who got bought out by Washington Mutual, I think, and then who got bought out by Chase. I went to a training workshop, and in the training workshop, I showed up and showed out, right? It was Chase, the lady at Chase, who saw me show up and show out. When she visited the bank, she wanted to know where I was. And they tried to call me back. And although now I was making less money, something said, stay. Because there were things about banking that I loved, but I didn't love the hours that I couldn't leave if I didn't, if the drawer didn't add up. And I have a baby to go home to, and this job was far. So I said, no, thank you. And just after that, a week after that, is when the boss came in and asked me to stay. I have now been at the same job for 24 years, going on 25 years. And although I started off as just a receptionist, I am now a compliance director with more certifications, and I went back to school and I got my degree. And yes, along the way, there were people there every goddamn step of the way to get me to the next level. You got to believe, you got to manifest. And there was a story that happened even before that I wanted to tell you guys. I was in a relationship and that person was paying the bills, and then that relationship ended and I lost my job. This was not losing my job though, technically. This was when 9/11 happened. And I was not going back to the city, and that's on that. And when they said to stay, I left. I was on the train coming from Manhattan before all the trains had started. By the time I got home, I saw people walking across the bridge because something came over me and it said, pick up your bag and go home. Because what I realized is that if something had crashed at the World Trade Center, and that is the last stop, that means that any train in the center is going to go back to the yard. And the yard is the first stop and the last stop for me. So I knew that if I could get on a train right now, I could make it home, and I could make it home to my child. Guys, I was fired. Whatever. I was mad, but grateful that I am alive. Because existing in a state of gratitude will allow you to always be able to think clearly about your next move. I was getting unemployment, guys, and the unemployment added up to $800 a month, and my rent was $500. And another thing I was doing, guys, because I was too ashamed, and I wasn't really ashamed. I didn't want to scare my son, so I was getting dressed and getting dressed like I was going to work while I got him ready for school so that he wouldn't know that things were tight. The rent was $500 and I had $800 and I still paid the rent, bought our food, got our Metro card, got his lunch, and still did everything that I had to do. I know you guys cannot do that today, but boy, I was skating by the skin of my teeth. By the skin of my teeth, I was making a way out of no way. I was praying. I was buying rice and vegetables. And right now, guys, that is what you have to do. You have to buy rice. You have to buy a big bag of rice. You have to buy fresh vegetables. If you have street vendors, use the street vendors. You cannot buy vegetables in the street. You have to barter with neighbors. You cannot order Uber Eats right now. You cannot buy coffee right now. Let me tell you guys how I make coffee. So I have a pitcher and I use Nescafe. That is instant coffee. I make it in the Keurig that I have. I let it cool. I put it in the refrigerator because if you're going to buy already made coffee, that costs $8 a bottle. But Nescafe that I get on some side street, I get that for about $5 or $6. I make my instant coffee because I drink coffee just like chocolate milk. I just want some syrup in it, right? So I have all the ingredients in my home, and that is how I make my iced coffee. That is how I save money. Another way you can save money is that stop bulk shopping, right? If you are shopping and you don't use it and you recognize that you are throwing food away, shop for the meals for the week, make the meals, and that's that. And you got to eat the leftovers. And if there's leftover rice, stir in an egg, some soy sauce, and a little bit of the leftover meat. And now you guys got some fried rice. I know sometimes, guys, we get caught up in what we don't have. I've gotten caught up in what I did not have. And we forget to notice what's still within reach. What's still within reach, guys, is creativity. Maybe you can't afford the big gifts this year. Maybe you cannot afford to have a great Thanksgiving, or not great, guys, because whatever you do is great. But you can't afford the big Thanksgiving, right? Maybe you can afford to slow down, to cook a meal with love, to be fully present. And this is true. I saw something online about Aldi having a meal for $40. And since now I don't believe a goddamn thing without seeing it for myself, I went to Aldi. I went to Aldi with paper and pen, and I perused their aisles to see if you could really get a meal with $40. Make a Thanksgiving meal with $40. And guys, I am here to tell you that it is true. I would tell you to go as soon as possible to go and get what you can get. The meal that they shown, it was very plain. And if you wanted to ethnic up, you can change a few things to make it culturally relevant to you and your family, right? Like I wouldn't be eating string bean casserole, but I would keep the string beans, and I would not buy the French onion dip and the mushroom dip. I would change that out, and I would just make some regular string beans, and instead of the pumpkin pie filling, I would get a can of apple pie filling, add in a little bit of sugar and butter, and put that in some of those graham cracker crumb cups. And that is how I would make some little mini pies. The turkey, guys, was $11, and it's a real mother effing turkey. Right? It was a bag of potatoes you could get. You can make mashed potatoes, but if you didn't want to make mashed potatoes, you can make like some potato au gratin, and you could keep the onion soup mix to make some potatoes au gratin, right? They had some shells and cheese to make macaroni. What I would do is get a little bag of that like mozzarella or Mexican cheese, and I would sprinkle that on top to make it look more like baked macaroni and cheese. Guys, you don't even have to get a fucking turkey. You can get a chicken. And you know something else that's crazy? You don't even have to do none of that. You can make your family's favorite meal. You can make a pot of chili and have and make some white rice and some cornbread, and you guys can have game night. Or you guys can sit around and tell people what you're grateful for. Or you can have a vision board party for Thanksgiving. You can do whatever you want to do. I have told you guys that one year I could not afford Christmas. And I was so overwhelmed that I was shaking because remember, I am a child of trauma. And being that I am a child of trauma, traumatizing my son traumatized me even more. And I told him to pick a day on the calendar and we would have Kadeem Day. He picked a day. I said, no, not that day. Because the truth was, when you don't make no money, you get more money back in your taxes. I am grateful now that I pay taxes, but I don't want to pay no taxes. And right now, I absolutely don't want to pay no taxes. But back then, I got back some money and I told him to pick a day after the new year. He picked a day. We called it Kadeem Day, and it was the best day of our lives. So much so that he never said anything. And the next year, he wakes up and he goes, "It's Kadeem Day." And I was like, no, that was a one-shot deal. And I said, all right. One more time. We went to the city. We went to Toys R Us. We went to FAO Schwartz. We went out to lunch. We came home so tired and so exhausted, but we had a beautiful day. But guess what, guys? All of that, and the motherfucker don't remember missing Christmas. He just thought I was being my extra self, but he doesn't remember missing Christmas. I'm telling you guys, they won't remember missing anything if you insert love and you do the best with what you got. Because hard times have a way of revealing what really matters. And if we're really being honest, it's never been the shiny wrapping or the big turkey on these crazy price tags. It's the people. It's your family. It's the laughter. It's the stories. It's the small moments that money could never buy. So before you start stressing about what's missing, pause, guys, and ask yourself, what do I already have that's worth celebrating? Because the answers might surprise you. Do you have friends that you could share in your expenses with? Another idea that I had, guys, is that you can have a thrift Christmas. You can go into your own closet and think of something that someone might need or want, and you could give it to them. You could have a thrift gift exchange. You can make something. Again, you can have a vision board party. You can have a potluck and have no gifts, and you can have game night. You can bring games. You can make funny socks. You can make funny shirts. You can have a pajama party with the pajamas you already got. And watch your favorite Christmas movie and make hot chocolate. Swiss Miss is 99 cents. And not at Dollar Tree. You got to go to one of them little side 99-cent stores that's not 99 cents. The Swiss Miss is 99 cents. You get some hot chocolate. I buy fancy hot chocolate from Marshall's, right? I'm sure people buy fancier hot chocolate from Williams and Sonoma and fancier than that. But guys, you can get a candy cane and get a freaking mallet and make some peppermint crunch. Put some honey or some marshmallow fluff on the rims of the cup, and there you have it, some fancy hot chocolate. Right? If you don't have any ornaments, your kids and you can make paper ornaments, and you can draw pictures on it and make your favorite messages and what do you want to be and who you love on it. Let me tell you something. I know for a fact that day that I couldn't do Christmas, my son and I, we made cookies. We had a talent show. We invited all of the teddy bears into the living room, and we had a talent show. and he still remembers it. There are so many big things that he does not even freaking remember that gets on my goddamn nerves. But guess what that means? It means that the things we did in love are the things that he remembers. And I'm going to share with you guys ways to cope during these hard economic times, during these holiday seasons. I think this is what I'm going to be talking about from here to the end of the year. Even with the Aldi, I think I'm going to get two $50 gift cards to give out to someone, because although I am not rich, I am rich in love. And I am rich in abundance, and I have been blessed, and I am grateful. And I am grateful to help, because I have been grateful to have been helped. And that's another thing that we have to start doing. We have to start bartering, right? If you have something, furniture, bed, food, cans of milk, whatever you can give to your neighbor, give to your neighbor. If you know someone who needs something that you do not need, do not let it go bad. Give it. If you can, in your apartment buildings, make a space where people can take things, because some of you still got too much damn pride. Do that. We have to become a community. We never should have stopped being a community. But right now, you have to be a community. And it's okay not to have, but there are things that we do have, right? If there are senior citizens that you know who are struggling, make them a pan of something, or give them some things that they can make. Now is the time to volunteer, to show up at your domestic violence centers, to show up at your senior citizen centers, to show up at daycares, to make sure that these babies have experiences and foods. But guys, you got to redefine abundance. Focus on what you can give that doesn't cost money. Your time, like I said, volunteer, creativity in your presence, write notes, cook together, or create memories that outlast any gift. Next, set realistic expectations. Be honest about your limits with yourself and others. Communicate early about what you can and can't do financially. Protect your peace and your budget. 3, practice gratitude daily. I don't know how often I'm going to tell you guys to practice gratitude, and that when people ask me why am I always in a state of joy, it is because I am able to practice gratitude, and that gratitude is what centers my mind. When resources feel scarce, gratitude shifts your focus to what's already here. Love, community, health, and the small joys that make the season bright. Gratitude shifts your focus to what's already here. It is in my state of gratitude, guys, that I am able to think. When I am feeling grateful, I am able to think. The opportunities, the new ways, the things that I can do, they just come to me. When I am doing something and it doesn't work out the way that I want to, I just shift. And I allow the shift. I was trying to hang something above my bed. It didn't work out the way I wanted. You just adapt and see if you like it, and you keep on moving. You keep on moving. Because at the end of the day, right now in these strong economic times, and right now as many of us are coming up on the holidays, and I know the holidays are not that important, but when you are a single mother, or a single father, or a single family, and you have children, and you care about them, it's about the joy that it brings them. It's not necessarily about the holidays, but if you have always been celebrating them, you don't want to disappoint your children. I get it. Don't let people tell you to stop celebrating, because it's not about just you. It's guilt involved. It's shame. It's hurt. And I'm telling you that you don't have to feel that guilt and shame and hurt. You can make a way, and you can do the best with what you got, right? You can do the best with what you got. They're about how much love you shared. Doing your best with what you got means learning to see enough as enough. So in this season of struggle, in this season with these holidays, I want you to give yourself grace. Celebrate what's still good. Spend time instead of money. Laugh hard, laugh loud, and let peace be the gift you both give and receive. Let peace be the gift you give to your children. Remember, life will always give you something to work with, even if it doesn't look like much. Keep running on those thoughts. I'm tired of talking to you guys. Bye.